Coming up
I got
next
my
on
first
the
role
Inherited
through,
Podcast.
casting director was Alpha Tyler. Shout out to her. But that was I got my first role on a BET show, actually.
See,
right? It would be BET,
come
right?
on, man.
Right? It was Read Between the Lines with Tracy Ross and Malcolm Jamal Warner.
What has been your favorite one, your most favorite to work on?
Better Call Saul.
Okay, why so that one?
The experience was awesome. From flying first class to meeting Bob Odenkirk. He kind of took us under his wing, treated us very respectfully, went out and got tacos, had us in a rent-a-car, got to drive around New Mexico on my off days and just kind of explore that state. Set life is typically usually early call times. It's pretty nice. You usually get a trailer. Someone might offer to bring you breakfast. You'll see the clothes you have on for the day. You'll have your nice little packet call sheet of showing you like what we're covering for the day. You go pretty much straight into hair and makeup and just rock that all day, so they can just always pull you in if they need you.
Building a legacy, so watch how you study me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined. Getting that paper and stacking it up, no time for no chillin', man. Building a legacy, so watch how you study me. You know it's inherited, ain't no comparison, stacking up guaranteed. Moving so militant, consistent and disciplined.
Hey, what's good? It's Sir Gates. Welcome to the Inherited Podcast. Again, thank y'all for coming back watching this podcast. Today again, another special guest is in the building. Before we get started, I want to let y'all know Better Life is available to the community. Like right now, we're just operating off of Instagram, but we will move towards our own community soon. So make sure y'all sign up for that. Just Better Life, links in my bio. Make sure y'all log in and sign up for the notifications for this podcast on YouTube. But other than that, let's get right into it. So today we have the talented Mr. Corey Chapman. He's an actor, as seen in FBI, Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, and a plethora of more. So we're going to dive in, get his background story, his origin story, try to bring us as much value as we can to this episode to whoever may be watching and or listening, whether you're in the car, at the gym, whatever it may be. So we're going to get right into it. So how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good to be here.
Good. Same here, man. Like I say, it's been a long time coming to get you on the pod, man. Been trying to lock this in for a while. Again, as you kind of said off camera, shout out to our brother Kai, a mutual friend. He set this up, so salute to you, Kai, man.
Shout out, Sensei.
Yeah, man. How long y'all knew each other? We was kind of talking about it.
So I've known Kai since, oh my God, like before we knew what life was, like kindergarten. You know, we went to Laurel Ridge Elementary School. He was actually one grade above me. But shout out to Kai, man. I've known him for such a long time, and he's one of the few people that like really comes exactly where I come from, who's like still pursuing, still chasing something after big. And you know, it's always good to like, you know, look to like people like that and see that, okay, they're still doing it. I got to go harder myself.
Yeah,
you know?
man. So I remember the first time I think I seen was in his music video. I guess you can say many years ago now. It was
that one video?
Yeah. I think it was it may have been I Don't Want to Wait.
Yes, it was that. It was that.
Was one, yeah. So you was walking out the building and he threw the papers
he
up.
Slaps the papers. Yeah.
Dope video too, man. That's the first time I had seen you, and he just brought it back up a while back and was saying you do acting. So he was just talking about all the ins and outs of the video, and he was like, yeah, he's actually an actor. So I'm like, really? Okay. So he set it up, man. But
yeah, we actually we had him come through and do an interview like a few years back. So
okay, see,
it's all full circle.
Yeah, it's all full circle connected. But cool, man. So before I start my podcast, right, I love asking the icebreaker question. You'll answer it, I'll answer it. Nothing crazy, of course. Still on brand. What's going on for the Inherited Podcast, right? So today this going to be a flat out question. So I want to ask, what does legacy mean to you? Like, if you had to define legacy, like in your world or on your path in life, what is legacy to you?
Legacy is the body of work that you're gonna allow to speak for you when you no longer can.
I like
that. What do people say? What do people say when you're dead?
Mm-hmm.
You know, were you a good person? Did you reach goals? Did you help others reach their goals? Were you selfish when you got there? Were you kind, gentle, like all that?
Mm-hmm.
Legacy.
Yeah. So I love that answer, and my answer is pretty much kind of the same. So it's like a lot of things you name, like in my definition, are the intangible things. So like if you look at legacy and inheritance, like for me, legacy, like I say, is the what did this person do, or what did you leave behind that's not physical, like what aspiration did you leave, what motivation did you leave, what leadership did you leave, like what did you leave behind to where somebody can say, hey, whether it's your kids, your grandkids, or pop, he did this and this and that, so, and he kind of set us up for X, Y, and Z, not even saying financial, but mentally, emotionally, physically. So legacy is just those intangible things that people will be able to speak about and transfer throughout many years after you've gone. And then maybe switching into inheritance is more of the, okay, he may have left some financial things behind, house, cars, businesses, but like legacy, I'm just real big on that. I just feel as if, like especially the generation growing up now, it's up to us to set them up for the future. And a lot of times we may be living out here kind of selfishly thinking it's just all about us. It's all about us, all about us. But in reality, I can't remember how the exact saying goes, but just in the analogy of like, as the older we get, they're the ones going to have to end up taking care of us. Like we're born into this world in diapers, and sometimes it's how we leave out in this world. So it's just that full circle moment. So it behoove us to prepare these kids to help take care of us and keep the legacy going. So yeah, in my mind, that's what legacy is for me, man.
Yeah,
so
man. Yeah, as I got older, I always thought, man, you want to be happy in life. You want to be happy. But going into my 30s, I realized fulfillment is what makes you happy, and that's not it's not pretty to go seek fulfillment. It's not pretty. It's gritty. You don't want to wake up sometimes. You have to beat it in your mind to do certain things at times. You're not always feeling it, but fulfillment is what'll, I think, create a more structured happiness, and that all just ties in right to legacy. I think if you're a man and you want to do right and you want to prove to the world that you mean something, then legacy is probably something you think about daily.
For sure, man. Yeah. So, but again, so that was a good icebreaker. So now I'm gonna get into your story, right? So if you can just take us back to young Cory, like growing up, where you're from, household, family, friends, your environment, just to set the tone of how you grew into who you are today. So just take us back and give us that order. So I guess from childhood to 20 years old, whatever around there. So just take us there from here to there, the brief background.
Yeah, man, of course. So I grew up an only child, actually. Okay. Grew up in Decatur, Georgia.
I'm from Decatur too, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You already know, yeah. East side.
Yes, sir.
But no, man, it was a cool upbringing. Luckily, I had cousins. I had cousins that lived out kind of like in Woodstock, like in the more like suburb country area, and then I had city cousins, who lived like down the street. So and I always had friends over. My parents were very like nice and accepting. They let anyone come over, eat the snacks up in the kitchen. That's how I got most of my friends. Was like people came over like, yo, Corey's the snack king.
You going to Cory crib?
Yeah. And let's see. So upbringing was cool. I prided myself on like having a lot of friends, being social, being funny, being the class clown. I was white boy Cory growing up a lot. I had a lot of black friends, and that all happened actually because so this is messed up, but I do want to touch on this. So
no, go ahead.
When we're kids, right? Sometimes doctors try to infiltrate things so early on into a kid's life. And I don't have kids. I don't know what's going on now, but I'm sure things haven't changed too drastically. But they were trying to prescribe me Adderall in like 3rd grade,
Jesus Christ.
God, yeah, like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. And my mom was so pressured for me to take it. She would like try to crush it up in like my drink, like in my orange juice or Coke or whatever I had before going to school. And that's a whole nother topic. But what I was saying was like the elementary school itself. So we had like 2 different sectors, right? It was 4-1, 4-2, 5-1, 5-2. And so they had me in like 4-2, 5-2, which is like, unfortunately, it's the more like underprivileged kids. Like they'll take half the students and be like, these kids are more like, destined for future, whereas these kids will probably work like restaurants and hotels, and we're not gonna take their education as serious. Now, being so young, my parents nor I really like knew that that's kind of what was happening, and unfortunately, the 4252 was mostly the black kids in there, and that's kind of how I just developed into. That was kind of like the essential like beginning of how I became the person I am today, and so I grew up around a lot of black people. I felt very accepted around black people. I was white boy Cory, and it meant something to me. You know what I mean? But it was fun. Like you talk about like teen clubs, and like when you're that one white dude in the club and teen clubs, man, you're getting that twerk. You know what I mean?
Bet, man.
Like you are getting it, dog. And let's see. So that was kind of how everything like popped up. Even the acting class I went to, shout out Dwayne Boyd, Premier Actors Network. Okay. Also a predominantly black acting class. I kind of always thought of myself as like the Decatur, Atlanta version of like Jim Carrey in Living Color.
Oh yeah, that's
that was kind of like my upbringing, because I never like tried. I never watched rap videos and like started taking notes. You know what I mean, or any of that. It was just. I don't know, just
natural.
Things just naturally came about how they were, and I always just prided myself on being myself. Actually, a lot of other, if there were any other white kids I had growing up that were like kind of on the same like trajectory of like they feel like they're cultured or like they like black people, they 9 times out of 10 would have a problem with me.
Really?
Like it was just weird, but just
haters everywhere you go, man.
Yeah, but I just want to say like I just kind of naturally just fell into that, and it was cool. It was an interesting way to grow up. I loved my Atlanta upbringing.
Yeah, but it sounded like I was gonna say as well, like everything just happened naturally, because you do have sometimes you are the only white person in that surrounding. They really try so hard to fit in instead of just letting it happen. It just comes off weird, and it's like, all right, but like you said, that's a good telltale sign. If you go to those clubs, only white guy in there, and you get no dances, for sure it was accepted.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's like it's a highlight of the night. Like, well, we got a white kid up in here.
Yeah. So exactly.
So growing up, so you was the only child. So was it you and your mom, or you and your mom, and your dad?
It was my mom and my dad. I was fortunate enough to have both parents. My dad worked a lot. My mom was kind of the stay-at-home mom. I come from that old school of like, my dad was kind of like the Red Foreman, like that 70s show. Yeah,
I used to love that show.
Red Foreman.
Okay,
that's who he was. And my mother, she cleaned houses from time to time, but she was mostly home, and so she would be the one picking me up from school and stuff like that. But it was never too boring. If I was ever bored, it was just me by my house. I would always just put video games on, and like I'd do this thing where I'd put computer versus computer and just watch it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never did that one.
Yeah, that's probably an only child trait. I would watch it and I would build stories in my head about what the game means to me. Yeah, something I've never actually showcased on camera before. So.
Hey, well now it's first of everything, man. Yeah. So doing that, it just sounds like you had a very creative mind at a young age, right?
It had to go somewhere. I would flail like at the TV just to exert some energy, just have to get it out somehow. Yeah. And I find myself to this day doing that. If I'm really excited, if I just booked a role, best believe 10 minutes after getting off with my agent or something, I'm in the corner just like, got to get it out, man. I think, I don't know, that's just kind of how I'm wired.
I mean, energy is real though. Like sometimes if it just get built up, it got to get out some way, somehow. I guarantee somebody else have their other version of that. It just so happens that's the way to just express either excitement, pent up energy, or whatever it may be. So creating those storylines. And I know you said earlier, of course, like the doctors tried to just diagnose you with ADHD, probably what it was.
Right, yeah. Well, Adderall at such a young age.
So do you think if you would have like stayed on that track and was taking it, it would probably have suppressed your creativity?
I would have been probably a better obedient worker. And my towels would have been assorted by color coding for sure, yeah. One time, a few years back, I had a 7-page audition, and my roommate at the time, she was like, "Hey, why don't you take an Adderall?" Because I had been really busy that week, and it was kind of hard for me to cram all of it in. So I was like, yeah, I'll try it. Let's see what happens. Never again, man. I couldn't remember a damn line in that script.
Dang.
It does not help with memorization. Actors, Adderall does not help memorization.
Did it keep you up all night?
No, I mean, eventually you'll get put to sleep, or you can take a cannabis gummy.
Yeah.
Just saying. You can do that to calm it down. But I don't really take Adderall. Because of what happened when I was a child. There's drugs I like, but prescription meds aren't in those categories.
Yeah.
I'm very against a lot of that, just the pharmaceutical industry in general, because we have so much drugs that we actually could really benefit the medicine from, but we focus on the other ones that really just lead other problems down the line.
Mainstream stuff that they really
all the
push on you.
and I love with the commercials how they just say all the side effects at the end, like, oh yeah, and this may just cause depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and you might want to kill your wife, and then you might want to kill your kid, like Chris Benoit. And you know what I mean? Like, what is this, bro?
Yeah.
So I stick to my few things, man, like my Mary J, and that's really just been kind of it. Maybe a drink here and there, but you got to watch the spirits too. So
Yeah, you got to handle those as well. So what is your love, I would guess, and not even just so active, I can probably guarantee before you wanted to act, you watched films, TV shows. So what did all that start brewing, if you can remember? Like, man, I think I can see myself on this screen here.
So I was a huge fan of sketch comedy shows as a kid. In Living Color, like I mentioned earlier, Mad TV, SNL, that just seemed so fun to be a part of and do. And I would watch TV shows like Kenan and Kel. That was a huge one. What show was I gonna say? Boy Meets World, actually, is the show that really made me want to be an actor. Will Friedle, shout out to him. He was the voice of Ron Stoppable and Kim Possible. Played Eric Matthews on Boy Meets World. I just saw myself in that guy, just kind of airhead, aloof but funny, attractive, like suave but kind of dumb.
Yeah,
I just thought that's me, right? And then you get into the craft, and then you find out that you're actually unique and that you bring something that you actually weren't going to see happen. That's what's cool about acting, is you think you're one way, and then you put yourself out there to the world, and the world tells you this, and you're like, let me explore that. And you just kind of find your own uniqueness in the craft. But Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Will Friedle, all those guys and all their projects and movies throughout the 90s and early 2000s were just guys I just looked up to, and I just wanted to be in that world myself, And
I forgot all about Mad TV. Me and my sibling used to watch that show faithfully all the time. Like, that was next to like in Living Color, that was one of those classics for us, man. Like, Mad TV.
You remember Stewart? I don't want to go to bed.
See, Stewart, that was one of my favorite characters.
I think he was played by Michael McDonald. Please forgive me if I get the name wrong, but he was so funny.
I think he used to wear that pinstripe shirt a lot. I think it was. Yeah. I remember Stewart, man. Like, Mad TV, every time it came on, we made sure it was a priority to sit down, eat, and watch Mad TV. It's like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, so were you more of like a like, as far as like genres, comedy was it for you?
Love comedy, but I don't just subjectify myself to just like one genre. I find love in all of it. I like deep dramatic stories, sci-fi, comedy, whatever the project calls for, and it speaks to me.
So what was that journey of you, like, once you realized, like, okay, I think I want to pursue being an actor or just being in this film and television entertainment industry in general. So how did that start, and like what was that process to like landing your first role?
So 6th grade was the first time I sparked some interest into the universe. I said, Mom, I want to do some acting classes. She took me a few times to these classes. I enjoyed it. However, I wanted to play sports and just BS with my friends on the playground or whatever. So I didn't really take it too serious. 9th grade rolls around, and I get in this drama class. I didn't choose it. I just was in this class. And I was going to actually get out of it. But I said, no, I kind of like this. I want to just kind of try this out. I had to write a play one time, and we did so phenomenal. We had like student body of all grades, sophomore, junior, senior, whatever, and they loved it. Like, they thought it was so funny, and I had wrote most of it, and I was like, no, I like this. I could really do this. And my teacher, Miss Chittard, shout out to Miss Chittard, Kai knows her too. She really put a bug in my ear. She said, you can do this, right? And she sent me my first audition. They were looking for a Michael Cera type. So I kind of looked like Michael Cera when I was like 16, 17, if you could imagine. And I went for it, and it was probably the worst audition you could ever imagine. But I loved it from there on in. And then that's when I got with Dwayne Boyd and Premier Actors Network from an early jit. I was like 15, 16 years old, and I stayed in that class from there to 23 years old, so about a good 7-8 years. I treated it like it was my college, my university, and I wanted to really learn acting. I knew that Atlanta was about to have a huge wave come through, and it was just the perfect timing. I mean, timing wise, it couldn't be better. I ended up getting my talent manager ended up living like down the street from me. It was all just kind of universally telling me like, you're in the right place, And I got my first role through casting director was Alpha Tyler. Shout out to her. But that was I got my first role on a BET show, actually.
See,
right? It would be BET,
come
right?
on, man.
Right? It was Read Between the Lines with Tracy Ross and Malcolm Jamal Warner. My first scene ever was with Malcolm Jamal Warner, and man, let me tell you, like I watched The Cosby Show as a kid. Nick at Night was always on late, and I'd catch some Cosby Show or some Full House, right? Or even Different Strokes when I was a little kid. But yeah,
that was another classic. Yeah,
oh man, so many.
Yeah.
We grew up. I take it we're all of us in the same room. We're in the same age group. We had it the best when it comes to shows and sitcoms.
I wish it was kind of the same as then.
No, these kids will never know. But I digress on that. But you guys know what it
understood.
is. Like we were so privileged.
Yeah.
But yeah. So. Oh man, I'm kind of darting off. We're
No, you good. You were just saying as far as like some of the shows, you're going into your first role.
Yeah, so yes, Read Between the Lines. So got to meet Malcolm Jamal Warner. That was cool. And then from there, like 2 weeks after that, I had booked a Diggy Simmons project called The Startup. It might have came out, but it was I never really saw it. I don't think it. Something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Something happened. I don't know. It didn't really go the distance like I thought it would, but it was still a credit. I got to meet like Jason Weaver on that set. Yeah, that was incredible meeting him. And I just watching Smart Guy and ATL and all that coming up. It was really cool to work with him. Tiana Taylor was on that set. She was explaining to me who Kanye was. I'm like, Tiana, I know I'm not that white. I know who Kanye freaking West is. Okay. But all that was just really cool experience, like so early on.
Yeah. So, well, I want to take one step back. So I always just wondered this in acting classes, right? What is that like? Like, what do you? I know they kind of give you the ins and outs, but just a visual, I guess, representation. What is that like going through an acting class?
Therapy, psychology. You go to acting class. First off, it's a fun environment. It's a place to get loose, work on your vocal chords, like work on your enunciation, work on just feeling loose. Usually it'll be like warm ups, and then we'll sit down and there's like cold reads where you get a script and you get like only so much time to rehearse it, and then you perform it in front of the class and you get feedback, and or we'll do improv where no script, just freestyle acting kind of thing. But it's what you make it. It's how you internalize it. But I always say for anyone who wants to get started, I'm excited for you because you're going to learn things about yourself that you probably weren't too aware of. It's almost like another mirror of some sort that you're kind of walking into and seeing a different part of you.
So I heard one time, like you say, it's kind of therapy, right? I heard like in some acting classes, like say if it is, whether it's a fake script or whatever, or a real script, because you have to kind of enter into that character's real world of that script. Say if they did have some childhood trauma, but because you're in that acting class, it may entail and reveal, like you said, those things of your past. Like, man, I never thought about this, but because I'm trying to get into this mode, into this script, it just made me think about my past and how I may relate, and then that'll also help you like nail that role and be just as great as you need to be for that role. So I did hear about that as far as some things as far as acting class where it kind of just reveals your own inside traumas or hurt. Maybe it was good or bad, but it'll bring that side of you out as well. So
one thing, you can lie to men, you can lie to women, you can lie to children, but one thing that never will pick up on a lie is that camera. That camera knows when you're being honest and when you're not, or like if you're forcing it. Good acting is just being how honest you can be. It's how transparent you can be. For example, if I'm doing a scene, I don't have kids, right? But let's say I'm doing a scene and I find out, God forbid, like my on set kid like got hit by like a bus. So like the scene is my kid gets hit by a bus and I'm going to the hospital and I might not ever talk to him again, or like I'm talking to the doctor. So how can I channel that if I don't have kids? Well, I can think about a family member who passed away. Maybe if I can convince this doctor, you know, that he's still alive, maybe he actually is. So I'm actually thinking about the dead relative, or some girl breaks my heart. And if I'm talking to this doctor and I do a good job and he tells me the kid's going to be fine, then the girl's going to come back to my life. You know, it's just channeling real situations that you've gone through, even if it's a whole different vibe, even if it's a whole different thing on set, you can still channel real energy and put it and transfer it into that.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, honestly, it's going to convey, it's going to come off, it's going to feel real.
So I guess you have to say, like, anyone who does that, that's kind of will, like you say, separate a good actor from a bad actor. And is that really like it's a thing, but it's really like, okay, I know for a fact this is good acting and this is bad acting, but in your opinion, what will create or come off as a bad actor? Like, not trying to shine any negativity on a person or anything, but just like, because somebody may want to act and they may need to know, like, even though they may get feedback from peers or directors or whatever, like, good actor, bad actor, what will help make them good and what will be seen as a bad actor?
So bad actor, I mean, it's just, it'll just come off that way. I mean, you'll just know. You don't even have to be involved in the craft to say, no, that's not good acting. I mean, there's beats when you get a script and there's, say, like a paragraph, you have to break that down a certain way. And some actors might just skip over that, or there might be little nuances or things that could have really made it something, but just weren't keen to picking up on that.
So when it comes to my thing for myself, like I say, I do want to try to act one day, but I just feel like, man, am I gonna anytime be able to just memorize this script? I know sometimes, I don't know how long you get to memorize a full script, but is that difficult for you just to memorize it, or over time it gets easier and better?
What's your favorite song?
I got too many, man.
But if you were to sing it, you'd probably know all the words, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is with memorization. You're not gonna clearly, like with memorization, it's if you just cram it in it's like a test. You know, the more you study, you'll most likely pass because it's so fresh and retained in your brain. And you know, next week you won't remember any of those lines. That's just how it goes. There's apps that I use sometimes, or I'll just use voice memo and just say the lines out loud, play it back, treat it like a song, or just run it. I have a couple like cool friends who will sit there on the phone with me and I'll just go over lines. We'll just keep running it back and forth till I get a gist. Sometimes hand movements, if you know how you're going to do it in the audition, the way you move your hands kind of can help you signify when your next line is, the way you block it, everything like that.
So is it hard for you? Because I see, like, what's his name? Is it Will Ferrell? He was on Step Brothers, right?
Oh, yeah.
So actors like him, when I see them on screen and then maybe in an interview, it's like they're the same on screen and I guess from when I'm portraying off screen. Is it tough to break just that persona or that role when you get done, like doing a movie or something of that nature?
Everybody's different. Robin Williams was one of my favorite actors because he would really be immersed into the role. I remember when Ethan Hawke was talking about him saying, like, after we would do the scene, he'd have to like sit down in his chair and like just like really unwind. I had a teacher one time tell me too that, what separates a working actor to like a lead actor is you gotta have, and pause my French, but you gotta have some balls. Like you gotta not give a fuck about anyone's opinion. You gotta come in there, dick swing it, not really, but but you gotta come in there just. You don't give a fuck, man. You're a tiger. Like you are so true to who yourself. People are just going to be engulfed in that and want to see you and want to watch you.
So I feel like that also, like what you're saying, that'd be something that would block someone from giving their all as far as having confidence in yourself, kind of knowing who you are, and then worrying about people's judgment of you. Because it's like, well, this role may cause me to be loud and flamboyant, but I'm really not that. So if I go in here and do it, they may decide like, what are you doing, this and that. So I think like those barriers there will add into, again, I don't want to say bad, like not so good acting. So did you ever have a period of that, like trying to break those walls down?
Well, you have to get out of your head, and you got to be a little delusional to be in this craft, in this business, because you'll get in your head a lot. I've been doing this for 17 years, bro. I'm in my head every day. But I'm sorry, give me that question one more time.
No, as far as like, I guess you would say building a confidence. Sometimes you may worry about too much of the outside judgment or what people are going to think of you, or when you do this role, that's usually not who people usually would see. Like, did you ever have moments in your career as far as trying to break those walls down to just be whatever you need to be for this role without thinking about that judgment or whatever?
I don't think too much on the judgment. Casting usually gets it right. I'm not going to say they always get it right, but anything I've booked, it felt like, oh yeah, this is me. I'm supposed to be here. It's interesting because you find out a lot of actors get typecasted, but that's totally cool. But that's totally cool though, because that's in your niche. Like, I'll tell people, let's say you're into superheroes. You want to be a superhero actor, but you eat pizza and drink and like bullshit all day, and you party too much, and you're not disciplined. You're not gonna ever be the superhero in a movie. You have to be in shape. You have to be just whatever superhero you can imagine. Like you have to just be more equipped. You have to be someone who could actually be looked at as a superhero if you're gonna play one.
Makes sense, though.
Yeah. Now me, I've through the years, usually for me, it's like a bad boy kind of thing. Like maybe I'm shooting people or doing drugs, or sometimes it's clean cut, sometimes it's a scientist, or maybe just a happy-go-lucky cashier at a store or something like that. But I noticed I was starting to get typecasted as just being a kind of evil. I do this, like, and that just that gets me work.
So are you, not to cut you off, but in terms of you being typecasted, is it like a major issue for you, or is it easier to land roles that way for you?
It's fine. It's cool to play, but I do like to have range, and I don't like to just stick to one thing. But if that one thing is going to get me to the next level, and then I'm all fine with that. Yeah,
because I like to hear like some people, like one of my film classes, is where right now it's about like gender roles and media and television and inclusion and stuff like that. But as far as women roles and being typecasted and erasure, just you would see. Like, for example, Angela Bassett, because of like her body build, and she's more, anytime she's casted, she's have to be a strong woman, kind of rough around the edges in all her roles. So we're just having a debate as far as like, is typecasting appropriate? Is just keeping somebody in that box, this and that? But the more we discuss it, it's just been opening my eyes to just different actors as far as even like for the male gaze and stuff like that, just seeing, oh, well, in Avengers, you will see Wonder Woman, just how she's dressed, but she's a superhero, can kick ass and here and there, but so why is it necessary for her to have on the cleavage out, the short shorts, this and that? So it's all that just put together within typecasting and representation and stuff is just interesting to me, but that's why I had brought it up. But for you, right, Do you remember your first big role? Well, I guess in your mind, considering to you, what was your first big role was?
So all the SAG credits, the BET stuff, I would even say was big, just for it being like my first time, and it's like a SAG credit, first trailer, and all that. Halt and Catch Fire, I did 4 episodes. That was my first recurring.
So what was that one about?
It was a show about the make of computers in the 80s, the roaring age of computers. That was it was a cool show to find myself on. I played a computer coder. But I'd say my first big role might probably be I'm Not Ashamed.
Okay.
Because nothing in my career has really impacted people like that movie.
So what was the synopsis of that movie? I
played Dylan Klebold. I was a school shooter.
Oh man.
Yeah, like one of the trench coat guys.
Okay, yeah, that's a crazy role.
Yeah, man, and it was a Christian-based movie, so we had a lot of Christians on set, and they were so sweet because like on certain days of shooting, if it like one of the days where I had to like literally shoot people, they wrote like a letter to me. They were like, "Hey, Jesus is watching over you. We're gonna give you the strength to really pull this together, and we find you so brave and stuff," which I thouut was really sweet.
Yeah,
they didn't have to do that. And I remember after shooting that scene, because we walk up from behind Macy McLean, who plays Rachel, the star of the movie. She was like basically portrayed as Anne Frank, like Anne Frank in Holocaust. She was like the Anne Frank of Columbine High School because she kept a journal. And she felt that this was going to happen, that something of this magnitude would have happened, and she was right.
How did you prepare for that role, though? Like coming?
Man, it was actually kind of easy, and I'm thankful for YouTube before they got very censor crazy, because all of Dylan and Eric Harris's tapes were on YouTube pretty much, like all the home tapes. So I got to see the mannerisms, I got to see how he walked, how he talked, what he dressed like. So I just said, I'm him 2.0. I'm gonna take his spirit and just live him in this movie.
Is it easy for you to like?
I'll tell you what was really hard. So Rachel's mom, because Rachel obviously she got shot, she passed away that day in 1999 in Columbine. Her mom was the executive producer of the movie, right?
Wow.
So this was maybe 3 weeks in. We're gearing towards kind of like the end of shooting. We had already shot quite a bit of stuff, and we're in the dressing room. I'm getting makeup on, and she comes in the room to meet everyone. The director's like, "Hey, this is Beth. She wants to meet the cast. She thanks you guys for all your hard work," and I'm like, "Oh God." So think about that. You play the guy that killed her daughter in real life, and you're portraying him for the film that she's paying for. So when she met me, I remember because we were in a circle. She comes around, she sticks her hand out, and I go, "Hey, she's like, "I know who you are," and just kept going. I had to walk outside, bro, and like smoke a cig. I was like, man,
yeah, that's crazy.
That was rough.
That
was rough.
Did that from shooting that, did it like leave any, I guess, like quote unquote residue afterwards, like on your life, as far as like whether it's energy, emotions, or just once you was done?
No, I'm here for a job.
Yeah, okay.
I'm here to just play this character to the best of my ability, and we're on to the next.
Yeah.
But that film, I would say, was my biggest role because it just, man, like people have drawn me, have told me I'm their favorite actor. I get a lot of fan mail from like internationally, like Brazil, Sweden, Croatia, Japan, you name it. I'm like, wow, like this is a Christian movie. I did not think the buzz was going to be what it was, but people really felt that movie, and I've had some really fun roles, but I'd say that because I kind of really got to carry that film also. So
I wonder if I've seen it. What did you say the name of it was?
I'm Not Ashamed.
I'm Not Ashamed. Let me see real quick. Because it sounds familiar. I'm Not Ashamed movie. Where's the cover? I'm gonna go and watch it. Let me screenshot this so I won't forget it. But yeah, so out of all your films, so younger here now, what has been your favorite one, your most favorite to work on?
Better Call Saul.
Okay, why so that one?
The experience was awesome. from flying first class to meeting Bob Odenkirk. He kind of took us under his wing, treated us very respectfully, went out and got tacos, had us in a rent-a-car, got to drive around New Mexico on my off days and just kind of explore that state. Very beautiful state. Melissa Bernstein was on that set. She was a producer. She had produced *Halt and Catch Fire* as well and *Breaking Bad*. I felt a little bit of animosity. I was very excited when I did the *Halt and Catch Fire*, but I don't think I handled myself super professionally on that set. Just reason being, I'd flub lines, or I would try to be buddy with like the stars of the show, or I would throw myself. There was a lot of like background stuff happening always on that show, and I would try to like throw myself in there to like be more on camera. I was just so excited, man. I wanted this, right? And I was probably going to do more episodes, but they wrote me off after 4.
Really?
The way they wrote me off, it didn't make any sense. I could just feel like, oh, okay, they want me off this show. And so they did. They wrote me off, and she called me to personally tell me that they were gonna kind of have Frosty go another direction. But I never got called back. I almost didn't even get invited to the rap party. My buddy Josh had told me about it. He was like, "You coming, right?" I was like, "Oh, yeah. Can you resend me the email? I think I accidentally deleted it. I never got it." You know, but it's cool. 3-4 years later, I'm laying down. This is the second episode I'm shooting on Better Call Saul. It's a piñata scene. They're gonna like hang us upside down. So I'm just kind of laying there, getting prepared, and I hear a voice. And it was Melissa Bernstein. She was like, "Hey, Corey, good to see you again." And that was so cool. I was like, "Hey, Melissa, good to see you too." Because it was one of those moments like, hey, I'm still here and I'm learning, right? Like I'm learning, and if I want it bad enough, it can happen. And I'm not here to give up.
Yeah.
You know?
That's beautiful, though. At least she didn't leave it where it was then, and then years down the line, it's like, okay, here's this guy again.
Like, Melissa, what now? No, dude. No.
Yeah, because Better Call Saul, I didn't finish that full series, but Breaking Bad, I can watch that
ever.
over and over.
Dude,
and over.
I was so psyched because we watched Breaking Bad religiously with when I had these roommates at the time, like 2012, 2013. We watched that religiously. It was the greatest show.
Yeah,
and then to find out 4 years later, I'm going to be working on the spinoff. I even got to ask Vince Gilligan, the creator of the show, because there were 62 episodes in Breaking Bad. There's 62 elements on the periodic table.
Oh, wow.
So it just coincidentally just worked out perfect like that.
I mean, who would have? But that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like signs. And I asked him, I was like, was that purposely done? He was like, not at all. We thought that was insane too. We had realized that on season 5.
That's crazy. Yeah, but Breaking Bad, it's just a great piece of work and production. Just from beginning to end, from the first episode, it caught me in and got me in. So I was hooked since then, and just seeing how it progressed. I wish they could have made more seasons of it, but nonetheless, I think
it's an acting class watching that show.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character on there?
I mean, I liked Aaron Paul. And I mean, Jesse and Heisenberg.
Yeah. Jesse came a long way, man. Came a long way. A lot of ups and downs, but he came a long way.
Came a very long way. That scene where Heisenberg, where like the woman's dying from heroin, and he's gonna save her at first.
Yeah.
But then he thinks about it. Like the way he goes in and then comes back out, that was like the birth of Heisenberg. Just the little things that Bryan Cranston did in that show.
And that's what I liked about it, just because he was just once your everyday guy.
Yes.
And then the world just changed like that, and now you're sucked into this world, but he navigated it so well just to be something new. It was just like, man, I'm just a teacher now, and now I'm a quote-unquote drug lord and this and that. So it was crazy, man. I love it. So set life, right? What is that like for anybody who wants to know, like as far as call time, how many days you got to shoot this movie or series? Like, what is set life like?
Set life is typically usually early call times. It's pretty nice. You usually get a trailer. Someone might offer to bring you breakfast. You'll see the clothes you have on for the day. You'll have your nice little packet call sheet of showing you like what we're covering for the day. You go pretty much straight into hair and makeup and just rock that all day, so they can just always pull you in if they need you. Yeah, and just depending on what it calls for the day, you might be really busy or you may have a lot of downtime. The worst is when you're kind of needed, or maybe you shot some stuff earlier and you're just kind of ready to leave or do your next thing, but you're needed in this scene because your back's turned like that. They need to catch like the back of you.
Oh,
And
that's
it's like,
crazy.
oh man, I got to be here for
that.
yeah. But yeah, I mean it's exciting. It's always a fun place to be. You get craft service. I drink a lot of coffee when I'm on set. Breakfast, lunch, sometimes even dinner maybe. You get snacks midway sometimes, just depending on the product. Tyler Perry, they have really good craft service.
Really?
Tyler Perry Studios, yeah.
What do they usually provide?
Man, I had something one time. It was like Dr. Pepper smoked chicken. Like what?
What?
Yeah, I tried octopus for the first time at Tyler Perry Studios. I mean, they just have all
Pepper
kind of
smoked
crazy stuff.
chicken.
Lemon mustard chicken, like things you just haven't really heard of before.
Yeah, that's wild. Nah, I never heard of it.
But it's all usually just so good.
I bet. I mean, it might sound crazy, but sometimes the craziest things are the best things in life. Sometimes, just saying here and there. So for you, are you interested in like writing your own feature film or series?
Oh yeah. I've written short films, and I'm write projects from here and there. Whether it's just like for a series that I want to like shoot my own kind of series, or just some skits that I want to do. But yeah, I've been kind of playing with the idea of doing a show that's just kind of geared towards me and like everyday kind of thing, or like being like a, I guess, degraded local celebrity trying to really push through in the industry in the crazy city of Atlanta, Georgia. But I do want to shout out, I'm working on a project that I'm starring in this next coming month called Hombre Vegas, or Hombre Vegans. And it's cool. It's basically gonna shed light on like stardust people and like the underworld, and just kind of bringing all that together. It's very supernatural. I'm just like this like cool white dude in the club who's on his way to reaching new heights and success through like brand deals and marketing and stuff. But at the same time, I'm being followed by this woman who's haunting me, and there's like dark energy spirits involved. It's very sci-fi like, and I'm still kind of understanding the world, but I'm excited because it's going to show a lot of different range, and I get to really carry this film, because a lot of times it's mostly co-star, guest star, or like I pop in and out. So any chance to like lead a movie and showcase what I can bring to it is always exciting, whether it's independent or SAG or whatever.
Yeah, that's dope, man. It sounds like this is a journey you've been taking so far. You say what's been 15, 16 years?
I started acting class when I was 15, so 17 years.
17?
And then you could say professionally, since I professionally worked, like, yeah, I mean, 13 years, 14 years.
Yeah, that's been a journey. Within that journey, do you have any like people you haven't worked with that you want to work with now? Like your top 5, or I gotta work with these people before my career ends?
I'd love to work with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah,
That would be
dope.
insane. Jamie Foxx,
Another dope one.
Adam Sandler. Who else would I really want to work with? Will Friedle, man. I don't know what he's doing now, but I just would love to work with him. And Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah.
Dave
That'd
Chappelle.
be dope.
Half Baked too.
Yeah. I used to have Baked was one of those ones too, man. I think I was a kid watching it. I only didn't know what it was at the time, but I watched it so many times since then. Like, all right, I really love this movie, man. That's a top one. Like one of my I'm gonna ask you as well. My favorite films. I can always watch Four Brothers.
Good movie.
Training Day. Well, any Denzel Washington movie,
yeah.
I can dive in and watch. I'm a Jim Carrey fan as well. Of course, all the Ace Venturas and The Mask. Let's see if I can get 5. Another one would be, well, there's so many people in, but of course, Marvel movies. I love Marvels. And if I had to name another one for a top film, most recently, I think you said he may have watched this, but I really did like the one Denzel's in now, the new Gladiator.
I liked it.
Yeah.
There were mixed reviews. I thought it was a good story.
Yeah, I seen the mixed reviews as well, but it was a great film to me. Like it was dope. So I think I've seen half of the first one, but now watching this one and went back and watching the first one, it was like, okay, now a lot more made sense. But I really enjoyed that film, man. It was good. But what are your top 5 films you like? If you can name 5, or even get 3, because 5's kind of got to think about a lot of those.
I got you. So Scarface.
Okay.
I recently watched that the other day. Great movie.
Yeah.
That movie really, you know how most movies you watch, it transitions or like from one scene to the next, or they worry about stuff like that, transitional shots or whatever. Scarface is just like, here's a great scene, here's a great scene, here's a great scene, here's a great scene, because it fades black and then it cuts to something. It's like watching a play. And I've watched that movie so many times, and I just got that, like, oh, it's just like you're in the theater watching it. Scarface is
a classic.
Is an incredible movie. Friday Night Lights is my favorite football movie with Billy Bob Thornton and like Boobie Miles and all that. I just love that movie. If that movie's on the TV, I'm watching it. And let's see.
Yeah, those are good.
Forrest Gump was always a great movie to me. But I feel so cliche when I say Forrest Gump.
But it was a good film though.
It was. It was incredible. The guy lived an impeccable life for sure.
Yeah, that was a great film. Yeah, so all right, so with that, right? If anyone who's probably watching, listening to X, Y, and Z, they want to do what Cory does. They want to either, whether it be writing, directing, acting, whatever, just that world, but of course, probably specifically on acting. If you could give them any kind of advice, any kind of guidance, or just that first spark or step to get them up and say, hey, I can probably do this, what would you tell them?
Most importantly, stay current with the times. So for me, my era was 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's when I was young, youthful, and was really hip to the scene of what was going on. As we get older, we have to kind of do things to stay sharp on that. It doesn't come as naturally to us. So if you're in the game, or even if you're my age, it doesn't really matter, or even older, you got to stay with the times. Doing skits, getting with people, finding like-minded people. Definitely need to be in class if you're starting out. You're going to get very discouraged and quit if you're not around people like-minded that want the same thing that you do. Once you find a cool crew like that, you guys brainstorm, try to jump into film projects, maybe 48-hour film festival, other little film competitions, iPhone film competitions, or just shoot just to shoot. But you can really build something now with how crazy TikTok is and how much you can get it out there. Come up with a niche. Be consistent. Very important you shoot your own stuff. I was told that from the beginning. Dwayne Boyd used to drill that into us. Got to shoot your own stuff. You got to be working on your own projects. Why? Because it's fun. 2, it seems like you're working even when the phone's no one's calling you. And 3, you're learning. And you're getting better each time with that. And blow people up. Don't be afraid to contact everyone. Contact Drewski, contact Kai Cenat, contact people that are just absolutely winning in life. Create a buzz for yourself. Once you do that, call a Desi Banks, call just anyone that's really crushing it, and try to learn. Get in good, but don't force it. Get in where you fit in. If it doesn't come natural, these aren't your people. Your people, like it's so crazy, man. There's people I rarely talk to, but they think the world of me. They think I'm just so awesome, and I love those people. They don't have to know what my mom's name is. They don't have to know if I have brothers and sisters. It's just energy, man. And the right people want to see you win. Yeah. So many times we're so bothered by like this person's acceptance or that person's acceptance, or why doesn't he support me? That's like those are so wasted thoughts. Facts. Just stay in. You know where you want to go, and if you don't, figure it out. And once you catch on, other people will too. Facts. It just happens like that.
Facts, man. Now that's great advice, and just so everything you've either been through, gone through, all your scripts, your acting, this and that. I'm pretty sure at some points you may have highs, you may have lows, right? And this is just touching on the mental aspect. So when you're in your funks or just those down times or may just need to decompress, what do you do to, I guess, recharge or battery life? Like, from example, for myself, not so much as I used to do. Like sometimes I do either be meditation, but nowadays I still do go to, it's a big lake. I can just sit there in a chair and just zone out. It's quiet. Just actually hear the water, hear the trees and stuff like that, just to kind of decompress. So what is that for you, especially with all this acting life?
I'm right there with you. I'm a big advocate for nature.
Yeah.
I love being out in nature. I love traveling. When I can just drive somewhere or get on a plane and just kind of go away for a little bit, it's the best. But times are rough sometimes. So when you can't do that, just, go into the park or just sitting down and really appreciating life. Like I'll watch the wind blow through the trees. I like seeing a old Kroger bag just flowing in the wind, like on some American Beauty shit, right? But for real, I gotta add that as one of my favorite movies too. I love American Beauty.
Okay,
it really captured middle class America. But yeah, like meditation's good. I haven't really gotten into yoga or anything like that yet, but I'm super down. Hitting the gym is good. But yeah, I'm like you, big outdoors person. I want to get into fishing. I want to learn. I want to like kind of just teach myself new hobbies, because I think too that's important. You don't want to just, and that's kind of been my thing. Is I've been so like I need to get here. I need to get there. I need recognition. I need to be accepted.
Yeah.
I need to show this girl she made a mistake. Like all of that shit. Like all like all
that's
of
real life,
like
man.
like all of that, right? Like you'll cram yourself so much with that. But what about learning how to like properly change your brakes on your car, or learning how to fish, or just learning how to fence or whatever? Because guess what? When you get to set and you're talking to like bigger actors than you, just to be real, like actors who are higher up on the call sheet, who you could actually leave a good impression on. If you know how to do more things, that it'll make your whole morale better. You'll end up making more money in life. I felt like this on Righteous Gemstones. It was Sterling Shepard, who's like a country music sensation, opens up for Willie Nelson all the time. I'm sorry, did I say Shepard? Sturgill Simpson. Sorry, Sturgill Simpson. Adam from Workaholics was on that set. Steve Zahn, who's done a lot. You remember that movie what was it, Joyride? With Paul Walker.
Yeah.
So his brother in that.
Oh, you know, a lot of good people, man.
So,
Jesus Christ.
But I remember feeling so humbled, because they sometimes, when it's downtime and they're changing cameras or whatever, you have a good time to like talk, and you don't have to force yourself to talk, but just you're in this environment, you're sitting there, and I want all actors listening to watch this if they can relate. You're sitting there with like stars, and if you could just leave a good impression, that'll just make you look so much better. They'll remember you. They'll be like, hey, he was so cool. Let's get him on this project. It just happens like that sometimes. But the things these guys were talking about, I could tell, and I was the youngest on that set, but still, it left a sour taste in my mouth a little bit, because I'm not that interesting. I don't have that much. I didn't feel like I could add that much to the conversation.
Yeah.
Married, kids, did this, did that. They've had lives, man. And I don't I don't feel this way too often, but I felt like I was a baby in my 30s, So I just say all this to say, take hobbies, learn all you can. It's great that you're an actor, but don't make that just be like the only thing that defines you. And I'm really talking to myself when I say this, because it's something I need to work on.
Hey, it's all a form of therapy, man. That's why I say this platform is just like that. Because you just had that moment to say, hey, I know I'm talking to myself. Just a form of realization, man. That's all it is. So, but that was dope, man. Like I said, I really enjoyed this interview, but just as a film and end credits, I want you to do something the same, right? So if you can, for people just knowledgeable, whatever you can remember, just list like some of the films you may have been a part of, and pretty much your credits for yourself here.
Right. So I, Tonya. That's one. I'll name the ones we haven't really discussed.
Okay.
I, Tonya with Margot Robbie. That was a really cool look. Craig Gillespie had me do something crazy in that movie, where I was doing this like spider thing where I'd come around her and just be like her creepy brother. It was a flashback that she was having. But then
crazy.
Craig Gillespie was like, hey man, grab her boob on this next shot. I want some shock factor. He's like, he's Australian. They're all Australian, really. It's like Australian production. And I was like, wait, you want me to just like grab her boob? He's like, yeah, man, yeah, she's professional. I was like, what? So the next take, I just went for it. And then she turns around, hits me with the curling iron, and then like gets on top of me, starts beating me with it. That was what the scene was.
Yeah.
But she was very professional. Like I remember hugging her at the end, like, "Hey Margot, like I hope that." She's like, "Oh my God, no, come here. You're such a sweetheart." That was awesome.
That's dope.
So that was cool. Hillbilly Elegy. Got to work with Ron Howard. He was the director of it. He was Opie in the Andy Griffith show, like way back.
Jesus Christ.
I can't whistle, but I wish I could do the theme song.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. You got Jesus, man.
And I honestly, I hate just like naming projects and like bragging on myself because there's just so much more work to be done.
But you deserve it. You earned it, man. You did it. That's why I asked. Is some people, it's like we work so hard, but sometimes just don't feel like our accomplishments are kind of worth. Not saying nothing, but it's like, okay, you can be humble, but still just know it's just great to know I worked this hard and I've accomplished these things because of that work.
Well, I'll tell you what can get hard, and I think you're a music guy. You can probably relate to this tenfold. Sometimes you come up with your peers in this business, and some are just way more successful than you. You know,
Facts.
some end up making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and though you've been working as well, you feel like you don't really have much to show for it because it's a little bit here, it's a little bit there, and I don't know about you, but they're charging his rent every month, so
Facts.
that money only comes around or like stays for so long.
Yeah.
And then you see other people just like, man, like why, like I get it, but like I'm just as good, if not better. Like why isn't it happening for me? And you just really have to have some thick skin and just, as cliche as it sounds, man, trust the process.
No, for sure.
It just builds you who you are. It's not a race, it's a marathon, right? So, but it does get frustrating because you want to be there.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what I guess what they say come in is that a form of comparison is a thief of all joy, man. So it's hard. Sometimes if it's in your face, everybody's human. You're going to see it. You're going to realize it. But trying to just draw back and just know like, hey, I did what I did. I'm here where I'm at. Like you said, trusting that process is all you can do. Your time be your time. However big, however small it's going to be, what's for you was for you. So, but again, it's just more realization, man. That's all it is. But before we get up out of here, right, do you have anything new going on, any announcements you'd like to make, or just anything else that you feel you probably left out?
Well, the Ombre Vegans, I touched on that a little bit. I can't wait to get geared towards up to shoot that. It's going to go straight to Tubi, but we're shooting it all through the month of March, probably finish around May. So I'm going to be blasting that pretty soon. And I'm locked in the lab, bro. I'm auditioning, I'm writing, and I'm gearing towards a real transition. I'm really finding myself in this adulthood at 32. So I like where I'm at. I'm putting the pressure on my managers, on my agents. Like, let's do something. Get me out here because I'm always looking for the next best opportunity and a way to showcase myself because I just want the work, man. I'm gearing up to try to get a good agency based out of like Cali or New York, whether it's Abrams or A3 or just Innovative, any of these cats. I'm pushing for it. So
You gonna get it. So where can they find you on social media? Tell them all your handles here.
Well, you guys can follow me on Instagram at the Corey Chapman. You can follow me at TikTok at the Corey Chapman, and you can follow me on Twitter at Corey_Chapman. Though I should probably change it to the Corey Chapman, but
You say you get there.
but yeah, the Corey Chapman. You can find me on all social platforms.
Yes, sir. So again, man, this was a good episode. I know for a fact anybody who's watching, whether they want to be actor or not, value has been brought. So he'll give you your flowers for that, for all your accomplishments and job well done,
Thank
sir.
you.
I say it was a great time. But hey, you guys, this is Inherited Podcast. So again, thank y'all for coming back, watching this episode, whether you're watching it or you're listening to it. I am your host, Sir Gates. You can follow me on Instagram at SirGatesBC. That's SirGatesBC. Make sure you follow the podcast, Inherited Podcast, NHERITD Podcast, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And once again, By to Your Life is live. It's a dope community where we're growing together, we're learning together, doing all challenges, all things positivity, right? So make sure y'all join that community. But until next time, this is Inherited Podcast. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all later, man.